So we're going to start off by going over some research that comes out of the CDC. CDC puts out an annual report that looks at health risk behaviors that contribute to death and disability in our youth and our adults. And part of that report comes from a survey that all students between the grades of 9 and 12 participate in. And it asks some questions about these health risk behaviors that the CDC looks for, puts it together in a report, and releases it. Some of that gives us some information specifically about bullying. And the first part we look at is bullying that occurs on school property. This is the type of bullying that it happens here. It happens on the buses, it happens in the restrooms, in the hallways, cafeteria, in your classrooms. And the students answered that they were victim to being bullied in one of those areas. And what they found was that the data didn't change for 3 years. In 2009, 2010, and 2011, 1 in every 5 students reported having been the victim of bullying on school property. It stayed the same. 1 in 5 students, if you imagine a classroom of 30, and you've got a group of 5 students, one of those 5 is going to say that they were victim of bullying in one of the settings in the school. Typically, it had been in the past that males were the ones that were more dominant in this type of behavior actually occurring on school grounds. Well, females are now that. They've taken over. They are the more dominant bully in our school settings. And for this particular survey, they found that students that in 9th grade were the most likely to participate in this type of bullying on school property. Next, we look at cyberbullying, and this is one of those areas that is changing, and it's changing daily. We may walk out of here today and there'll probably be some sort of new form of technology out there that we don't know about. Emails, text messages, instant messaging, social media sites, all these different types of bullying occur, and it allows, which is a little bit different from our statistics when we look at school property bullying, it allows the person who is being the bully to think about what they're doing. Now imagine you're on school property, it's right there in front of you. It's intimidation or harassment or teasing that is occurring regularly, but right there on school property. Now, cyberbullying can occur on school property too, we know that. But what we find is that students have a chance to think about what they're going to write, think about a fake identity that they might want to post online, and that snowballs in front of us as educators because it becomes present in our school setting. Just because it happens at home, it may happen last night, it is seeping into our classrooms and our schools. What's the connection with absenteeism? The statistic is 160,000 students every single day across this country will miss school. They will skip school. 6% of each school site, percentage of students will miss school today because they are afraid to come to school or they are resigned to the fact that they just can't deal with it anymore, so they choose to stay home. And when we look at that, what is that connection to instruction? Well, it's missed instruction. They're not at school. They can't get the instruction that you're delivering them. We all know the expectations out there with all the new standards. They have to be in their seats. So when they decide that they can't come to school today because they're too afraid to walk down the hallway, or they out of fear of walking to a restroom, or walk into the cafeteria and see a group of other students that are talking about something that was posted online last night, they're missing that instruction. And that importance is that out of UCLA, they've done some research. It's about 20 years in the making. It's about 93 they started this. And they started looking at the equivalent to GPAs and also with GPAs versus being victims of bullying. A student on an average who is being victimized by being bullied will lose 1.5 GPA point in a 4-point system if they have become a victim of this type of behavior. A 4.0 student could be running along in a 4.0 and all of a sudden have something happen like bullying, intimidation, harassment, call it for what it is, and then go down to a 2.5. A 3.0 student, 1.5. That effect on the schools or on their education is huge, and it is directly connected. You can't say that behavior and bullying is a separate thing. It is very much connected in the education and your classrooms as you're teaching.